November 1970, Norway finds a dead woman, and nobody on Earth will claim her. 55 years, 3 governments, 2 generations of detectives, still an open case. They know how she died. They know 8 names she used. But who was she? Stay with me, because every clue in this file makes it stranger. It starts in a valley locals already had a name for: Death Valley. What police found on those rocks looked at first like a tragedy. Then they saw it. Something was missing from every piece of her clothing. Every label cut out, every trace of where she came from gone. And that's just the first impossible detail. This case is made of them. This is the file Norway can't close. Let's open it. Sunday, November 29th, 1970. A professor and his 2 young daughters hike into Isdalen. The valley sits behind Mount Ulriken above Bergen, steep, rocky, wrong for a stroll. The younger girl smells smoke first, then she sees it between the boulders. A woman burned beyond recognition, on her back, in a place no fire should be. Her front's destroyed, her back barely touched, like the fire was arranged. And around her someone had placed objects, not dropped them, placed them. A packed lunch, a liquor bottle, rubber boots, her jewelry laid beside her, not worn. An umbrella, bottles that had held petrol, and over 50 sleeping pills. Police climb up that afternoon. One of them will chase this case for life. Because nothing here behaves like an accident, and nothing behaves like a normal crime either. The body goes to the Gades Institute in Bergen, and the findings, they make no sense. She's about 5'4", 30 to 40, well-nourished, expensive dental work. There's soot in her lungs. She was alive when she burned. In her blood, phenobarbital, sleeping pills, dozens of them. Not enough to kill her, just enough to make her helpless. On her neck, a bruise, a blow, a fall, the report can't say. Her fingerprints. This is where it stops being strange and starts being professional. Reportedly sanded down, removed on purpose. Gold crowns no Norwegian dentist had ever seen. Central Europe, maybe further east. Nobody in Norway is missing. Nobody in Scandinavia matches. Interpol? Nothing. So police give her the only name they can, the Isdal woman. 3 days later, one phone call from the railway station changes everything. 2 suitcases, sitting in the station lockers since the day she was last seen alive. Inside, good clothes, and from every single piece, the labels cut out again. 500 Deutsche Marks, Norwegian kroner, Belgian francs, hidden in the lining. A wig and glasses with no prescription, glasses meant to change a face. A tube of eczema cream, with the patient's name scraped off the label. Cosmetics, spoons, a comb, postcards, nothing personal, nothing with a name. Whoever packed these bags knew exactly what investigators look for and removed all of it. Except one thing. A notepad full of letters and numbers that mean nothing, until they do. 022, 028, P, October 22nd to 28th, Oslo, then P, Paris. It's not a code, it's an itinerary. Her last year, city by city. Brussels, Paris, Hamburg, Basel, Rome, Oslo, Bergen, again and again, Norway. A fingerprint ties the suitcases to the dead woman. The luggage is hers. And now the hotels start talking. They remember her, under very different names. Claudia Tielt from Brussels. That's who checked into the Hotel Isdalskvinnen. Vera Jarle, Alexia Zarna-Merches, Claudia Nielsen, Vera Schlosseneck. At least 8 identities, 8 passports that must have existed. All fake, all gone. And the handwriting on the cards, the same. Trained, careful, French-schooled. Witnesses agree on one thing: elegant, composed, beautiful, some said. She spoke French, German, English. Flemish, said one clerk. Norwegian? None. She told people she was an antiques dealer, traveling, always traveling. But she had habits no tourist has. Rooms changed after check-in, eyes on the entrance. And staff remembered something else. She seemed to be waiting, watching. So the question isn't who she was anymore, it's who was she working for? November 1970. She checks into Hotel Horderheimen Bergen. Room facing the street. Again. The staff notice her mood has changed. The composure is cracking. She smokes. She barely eats. She stays in her room. November 23rd. She pays cash, asks for a taxi, and vanishes. For 6 days. Where she went between that hotel and the valley, nobody has ever found out. But there is one account, and it surfaced decades later. A young local, hiking toward Isdalen, meets an elegant woman coming the other way. City shoes, a fine coat, all wrong for the mountain, and her face, he never forgot it. Behind her, 2 men in dark coats, following, her expression, he said, and pleading. He went to the police, and what happened next is the strangest part. He says they told him, forget her. This case will never be solved. 5 days later, a little girl smells smoke in Death Valley. If this dossier is worth your time, subscribe. That is what keeps the archive. To get why nobody buys the official story, you need to know what Norway was in 1970. A NATO front line, a coastline Moscow wanted eyes on, a quiet country full of secrets. And that November, right near Bergen, tests of Norway's brand new Penguin missile. Now lay her coded itinerary over the test calendar. Look at the overlaps. Towns near test sites, dates near test windows, again and again. The official conclusion, filed within weeks, probable suicide. Sleeping pills, a remote valley, petrol, a woman erasing herself, that was the theory. The detectives who worked it never accepted that. Some said so publicly, decades later. Because suicides don't sand off their fingerprints. They don't carry 8 passports. They don't cut the labels from their clothes. And they don't get followed up mountains by men in dark coats. For 45 years, that's where the file froze. Then science reopened it. 2016, Norwegian investigators and journalists pull the case back into the light. In a forensic archive, her jaw, preserved since 1970. Teeth are time capsules, the enamel records where you grew up. The result? Central Europe, likely southern Germany, the region around Nuremberg. Born around 1930, a childhood in wartime Germany, or right on its borders. Her DNA, European, finally extracted, ready for a match that hasn't come. The handwriting lands the same way: German childhood, French education. A woman shaped between two countries, exactly the kind intelligence services love to recruit. Journalists take the case to millions, and tips flood in from all over Europe. Families of missing women write in. One by one, DNA rules them out. Somewhere people are alive today who knew her, sat across from her, and nobody's come forward. Which leaves the grave, and the strangest kindness in this whole story. February 1971, Bergen buries a woman with no name. Police choose a zinc coffin. Zinc doesn't decay, so she can be moved when her family comes. They photograph everything, every wreath, every step. Prints made for relatives who might knock one day. Those photographs are still in the file. Nobody has ever knocked. Her grave lies unmarked in Mullendal Cemetery. The case is still open. 8 names, 1 woman, 55 years, and a file that refuses to close. Somewhere there's a town that remembers a girl who left, a language she dreamed in, a name. Until someone claims her, this dossier stays open. The next file's already on the desk.